Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Tony here with Italian Dual Citizenship Assistance. Now, if you're thinking about moving to Italy in 2026, but you're confused by all of the visa options, the new citizenship laws, and the huge amount of conflicting information online, then you're absolutely not alone. Today, I'm going to give you a clear overview of all of the legal pathways that can allow you to live in Italy long term. Italian citizenship by descent, the new 2-year residency route for descendants, standard residency-based options, and all the major visa categories. This video is not a step-by-step guide on how to physically move to Italy. This video is only about the legal pathways, the visas, residency rules, and citizenship options that actually give you the right to move to Italy legally. I'll release separate detailed relocation videos in the future that handle the practical side of moving to Italy. All right, so let's dive into it. Understanding the big picture. Now, to make this simple, there are 3 very different legal categories people confuse when they dream about moving to Italy. One is a tourist stay, up to 90 days in any 180-day period for most non-EU citizens. Second is legal residency. That's with a visa and residence permit that allows you to live in Italy long term. And the third route is citizenship, becoming an Italian and EU citizen with full permanent rights to residency. Buying a house, having an Italian surname, or feeling Italian, unfortunately, does not give you the legal right to live in Italy. Now, let's start with the strongest legal pathway, which is citizenship. Now, for many people, the cleanest solution is going to be being recognized as an Italian citizen. If you're a citizen, you don't need a visa, but the rules changed dramatically in 2025. Under the new Law 74, the eligibility rules became much stricter. Some people with an Italian parent or grandparent do still qualify, but many people who previously qualified through a great grandparent or beyond no longer do. Now, it's important to note that there are still options through the courts, and there are some major legal and constitutional challenges to this new law underway right now. There are court cases coming up with the 2 highest courts in Italy, the Italian Supreme Court and the Italian Constitutional Court, that could completely erase or dramatically change this new law and its restrictive new eligibility requirements. So we'll all be watching that very closely, and it's very possible that things could reopen again for those currently blocked by the new law. So the advice from many of the top Italian attorneys in this field is to prepare your documents to apply for recognition of Italian citizenship and be ready to take advantage of any windows of opportunity that open from these major court cases in Italy. Now, if you do have an Italian parent or grandparent that held or still holds Italian citizenship, you should definitely get your case reviewed, as you may meet the eligibility requirements under the laws as they stand right now. Now, let's take a look at the pros of Italian citizenship by descent. Now, if you're recognized as an Italian citizen, you also become an EU citizen. You have full rights in the EU countries. That means you can move to Italy without a visa. In most cases, you can transmit your Italian citizenship to your children. You can live and work and study in the EU. Many universities in the EU are no cost or very low cost to EU citizens. Now, these new citizenship laws are quite complicated, and you have to have the right documentation. This is the area where I help clients the most, reviewing their ancestry against the new law and helping them to determine whether or not they might be eligible for Italian citizenship by descent, as well as helping them collect the required documents. Next up, we'll take a look at the new 2-year residency pathway. Now, if you don't qualify for citizenship by descent under the new rules, under the new law, you can become an Italian citizen after just 2 years of legal residency in Italy. This is a big streamlining because typically the residency requirement for non-EU citizens is 10 years of residency. That's reduced down to 3 years already for those who have an Italian parent or grandparent, but the new law goes further and reduces that all the way down to 2 years. Now, here's a bit about how this 2-year residency pathway works. First of all, you need to have an Italian parent or grandparent by birth in order to qualify for this reduced 2-year residency. And you'll need to live in Italy legally and continuously for 2 years in order to qualify. You'll need to hold a valid visa and extended stay permit or permesso the entire time. Now, after 2 years, you can apply for citizenship by residency under this special reduced timeline, dramatically reducing the regular 10-year residency requirement. This is great for people who don't qualify for descent recognition but still have close Italian ancestry. Some of the challenges with this route include qualifying for a visa like a work, study, digital nomad, elective residence visa, etc. You'll have to truly live in Italy for the 2 years, not just part-time or visiting as a tourist. Implementation of this new reduced residency period is still new, so it's definitely subject to change. In the next section, we're going to talk about visas, and that will include the visas that may enable you to qualify for this 2-year residency in Italy to get the legal right to live in Italy for the 2 years to meet the 2-year residency requirement. Now, because this 2-year residency pathway is actually a naturalization pathway, it's not a citizenship by descent pathway, it likely comes along with some other qualifications that you'll have to meet, such as the language requirement. It's standard for most naturalization-based Italian citizenship pathways for you to be required to pass an intermediate level of Italian test that you have to take prior to becoming a citizen. All right, next up, we'll take a look at the pathways available for those who don't qualify for Italian citizenship by descent and who don't have a more recent Italian ancestor, such as a parent or grandparent, or maybe who have no Italian ancestry at all. Now, first up, we have the standard naturalization. This is 10 years of legal residency. This is the pathway available for most non-EU citizens. And just like the 2-year residency pathway, this requires you to live continuously in Italy and have the legal right to do so, such as through a visa and residency permit. But unlike the 2-year pathway, the requirement is 10 full years of living continuously in Italy. Secondly, we have Italian citizenship by marriage to an Italian citizen. For those who have a spouse who has Italian ancestry, it's possible that that spouse could become recognized for their Italian citizenship by descent, or could follow the reduced 2-year residency pathway, become a recognized Italian citizen, and then you could likely become an Italian citizen by marriage to that spouse. Now, generally, the requirement is 3 years of marriage of living abroad. If you have children, that gets reduced down to a year and a half of being married, and then you can qualify for this citizenship by marriage. There's a background check requirement as well as the intermediate level of Italian language requirement with this pathway. Now, as I mentioned before, we're going to take a look at the visa options that would allow you to move to Italy and meet either the 2-year residency pathway or the 10-year residency pathways. Now, again, to use either of these residency pathways, you're going to need to have a visa that gives you the right to live in Italy legally. Now, here are the major visa options. First of all, we've got the elective residence visa. This is often called a retirement visa, although technically it's not required that you be retired, nor is it required that you be of retirement age. The elective residency visa, or ERV, does, however, have a passive income requirement, which is why it's most often used by retirees who are drawing some sort of pension or Social Security or some other form of retirement. The elective residence visa, or ERV, is a great option for people who want to live in Italy but don't need to actually work. To qualify for this visa, you need to show active, passive income. The general requirement is set at 31,000 euro per year for an individual and 38,000 euro per year for couples, although experts recommend that people have passive incomes quite a bit higher than that to actually qualify. Not everyone who qualifies is approved, so there is potentially some subjectivity to who gets accepted and who doesn't. Now, passive income can come from pensions, rental income, investments, retirement funds, Social Security, all of those sorts of sources. You're also going to need to have suitable accommodations and your own private health insurance, at least at first. Again, this is an excellent choice for retirees. Once you become a resident, your time counts towards citizenship. The downsides are that you can't work in Italy under the ERV, and experts say that remote workers are often denied for the ERV visa. and the consulates that you have to go through to get this visa can be very strict. Next up, we have the digital nomad remote worker visa. This is for highly skilled workers employed by foreign companies. Italy has a visa category called the digital nomad slash remote worker visa. And within this visa, the law recognizes two different profiles. The first is the remote worker. This is an employee of a foreign company. This is for people who are formally employed by a company outside of Italy. To qualify, you must be able to show that you have a valid employment contract with a foreign employer, proof that your job can be performed fully remotely. You need pay slips or income documentation from that employer and a letter from your company confirming your employment and responsibilities. This category is for people who have a traditional employment relationship, meaning that they are an employee and receive a salary and the work remains tied to your employer. And then the second category is the digital nomad, self-employed professional with foreign clients. This profile is for people who are self-employed or work in autonomy, meaning that you run your own freelance business, consulting practice, or professional activity with clients outside of Italy. To qualify for this visa, you'll generally need evidence of self-employment, such as contracts, invoices, or business registration abroad, that your professional activity can be done independently and remotely, that your income comes from non-Italian clients, and professional qualifications are consistent with the type of work that you perform. This category is meant for independent professionals and not employees. Regardless of whether you are an employee or a self-employed person, both of these profiles require you to work exclusively with foreign employers or clients, have sufficient income to support yourself, carry private health insurance, and meet Italy's highly qualified worker standards. You'll also need to work entirely remotely using digital tools. This visa does not allow you to take Italian clients or work for an Italian employer. The simplest way to understand the differences between these two very similar categories is that a remote worker has a foreign employer and a digital nomad is completely self-employed with foreign clients. It's one visa, but two clearly defined legal profiles, each with slightly different documentation requirements. Next up, we have work visas. Italy sets annual quotas for foreign workers, and the general requirement is to have an Italian employer willing to sponsor you to meet the quota requirements for that year. Some pros include a straightforward employment-based route. Time living and working in Italy counts towards citizenship. The downsides, quotas can fill quickly. Sponsorships can be hard to secure. Some categories are restricted by nationality or sector. It's important to note that the new law discusses that there will be no quotas placed on people who qualify for the 2-year residency pathway through having an Italian parent or grandparent. Next up, we're going to take a look at the student visa option. Now, you must be enrolled in a recognized full-time program to qualify. The pros of this visa type are that it allows limited work hours. It can be sometimes converted to a work permit. And the downsides are that you must be committed to an actual study program. Part-time work is limited. Another option to keep in mind is family reunification. If you have immediate family legally living in Italy, you may qualify for reunification. This is case specific, but very powerful when applicable. Next up, we have the investor visa, also often referred to as a golden visa. This works differently in different European nations. Italy's investor visa is based on capital investment and not in real estate. In some countries, buying a certain amount of real estate can get you this visa. In Italy, it's based on a capital investment. Italy is not generally considered one of the easier countries to obtain a golden visa. Qualifying investments include 2 million euro in government bonds, or 500,000 euro in an Italian company, or 250,000 euro in an innovative startup, or a 1 million euro philanthropic donation. A real estate, again, does not count. The pros of this option are flexible residency. It doesn't require physical presence levels like many visas. And the cons are that it's very expensive and there is no pathway through real estate. Next, let's clear up some common myths and misconceptions. Myth 1, if I buy a home in Italy, I can live there full time. That is false. Property ownership does not give you residency in Italy, a visa, or citizenship. Not even the investor visa includes real estate. Myth number 2, any Italian ancestry means I'm automatically Italian. Unfortunately, this used to be a lot easier, and it may get there once again with all of the legal and constitutional challenges to the new law. But for now, under the new 2025 law, eligibility is extremely specific. Myth number 3, I can just work remotely in Italy on a tourist stay. Not legally. Working while on a tourist visa can cause refusal of entry or future visa problems. Number 4, the elective residency visa or digital nomad visa will let me work however I want. And that's not accurate. And as we discussed, both have some very particular and strict restrictions. Let's talk about choosing the right path. Here are the key questions to ask yourself. 1, do you have an Italian parent or grandparent? If yes, you may qualify for Italian citizenship by descent, and that might be your best pathway. Alternately, you could qualify for the new 2-year residency pathway, even if citizenship by descent is blocked. Question 2, do you have strong passive income? If yes, then the elective residency visa may work for you. Question 3, do you work remotely for a foreign employer? That means an employer outside of Italy. If yes, then the remote worker visa may work for you. Question 4, can you get hired by an Italian employer? If it's possible for you to be hired by an Italian employer, then the work-based visa option may be a fit for you. Question number 5, do you have significant capital to invest? If yes, then the investor visa could be a good fit for you. Again, in closing, this video is not intended to be a fully comprehensive exploration of all of the ins and outs of these different visa options and legal rights to live in Italy. It's designed to be an overview of the options that could be available to you. If you want to pursue any of these options, you're going to need to dive in and explore a bit more deeply. You may want to consult with someone who can walk you through the ins and outs of these different options. If you've enjoyed this video, if you've watched this far and you're serious about finding your path to residency in Italy, my specialty is helping people with Italian ancestry understand whether they qualify for Italian citizenship by descent and how that process works, whether the 2-year residency route might apply, and I also help people with the various visa types and understanding how all of that works. Now, if you think you might qualify for Italian citizenship by descent, or you're interested in exploring the various visa options available, I do offer affordable 20, 30, and 60-minute consultations where we can discuss the specifics of your unique case, get you clear on your eligibility, next steps, and your best path forward. You can book a consultation with me on my website at italiandual.com. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.